are you back on your feet so quickly?
There's a non-smoking ward.
Boss.
If I listened to everything the doctors said, I'd probably die in here. No point waking up after 9 years for that.
Well, having you out of that bed makes things a little easier.
Bad news, huh?
Things are looking worse.
Go on.
They found out about you waking up, and the man on fire picked this time to wake up too. We'll have to move forward ahead of schedule. Miller already has the preparations underway. We'll have to wake up your neighbor too.
So he's not. He seems awake now.
No. Well, he's not actively conscious yet, at least.
He was a doctor too.
In his mind, that past no longer exists. Your past is his past now. He's going to be your phantom, not some simple diversion. He'll act as the new big boss, and the act just isn't for Cypher. He'll be your face on the world stage, until the time comes for your resurgence.
You make it sound easy.
We've been busy over the last 9 years. His altered state of consciousness has helped us implant powerful suggestions through induced hypnagogia. He's experienced all your missions on record and shares all your knowledge and experience to make him believe that he is the one true big boss. No one around him will doubt that he's the big boss they know. So, is he the real big boss or a stand-in? What does that mean to him? Nothing. The human brain is capable of many illusions. Of pain, of the future. What happens from here depends on his skill. You can vouch for that.
He was always the best man we had. But
9 years ago in that helicopter, he threw himself between you and the blast. In that moment, the man you knew died. He died protecting you. And now, by becoming you, he protects you again. This is just a detour in his journey to hell. And don't forget, it's what he wanted. He's in his dog days now. It's not just him. We'll be putting the people in this hospital in the line of fire. They'll be your shield and necessary diversion to buy us some time.
And you?
I'll be right by his side.
Can you keep it up? It's a hell of a lie.
It won't be a lie. I won't know his secret either. I'll believe that he's the real big boss. I'll have no conscious knowledge of you. Where's the lie in that?
Self-hypnosis.
It's nothing new in my line of work. Manipulating memories, the past. But that's not all. When the time is right, I need to remember that you're the real boss. In a world, it's double think.
In this year,
2 + 2 = 5. And I want you to do the same.
Right. His bodyguard?
Correct. It won't be long before this hospital comes under attack. We'll wake him up right away, but he won't be back to full health in time. You'll need to take him through his final paces.
Yeah. I want to see his face again.
All right, John. I've never forgotten you in these 9 years, but I have to forget you now.
Adam, I'm counting on you. What's up?
About the 1972 project. Les Enfants Terribles.
You never did like the French.
All that Catherine the Great aristocratic pompousness gets to me, that's all. Palace talk. They can keep it.
Les enfants terribles. The terrible children.
That madness Zero started. Or the start of his madness.
You found out something new?
The plan itself was abandoned in '76. ATGC dismantled the project, and their account with DARPA was closed. So I was worried about what happened to you. Your sons.
They're no sons of mine. And they're sure as hell not me.
Just a bunch of cells grown in a lab?
What they are is much sicker than that.
Well, Zero doesn't think so. Eva doesn't either. To them, those boys are your clones. They're you, down to the last hair.
And?
The first boys were raised free range, like we thought. Both of them. David has never left the States, but the other, Eli, has disappeared. Might as well call it abandoned. They're through with him.
Where is he?
He was in England, Zero's home ground. Apparently he traveled to Africa after that, but that's where he escaped from Zero's care.
Just like that? Why?
Who knows? Maybe he found out about his birth. If he's alive, he'd be 11 or 12 by now, old enough to think and act for himself.
So he might still be alive?
On his own, there? I wouldn't bet on it. John, if he is alive, what's the plan?
I have nothing to say to him. Treat him like a human being, just another person.
Boss, this war business you and Miller started. Since the industry spread out to the PFs, it may have a favorable influence on Cipher. To a ruler, an everlasting enemy is convenient. By directing the public's animosity outside his borders, he could unify their frame of mind. Guns for hire continue the war, then enrich the economy with their spoils. War as a business will become a permanent tool for manipulating the public mind. A new business model. You might even call it a war economy. Before long, Cipher, or rather the Patriots, will be drawn to this. Probably only a few decades before it takes hold. It's not far off at all. Still no leads on Zero. We don't even know whether he's still alive. But the protocol he put in motion's making steady progress. Every day, SIGINT's web covers a little bit more of the globe. Total information control. Big Brother Zero. And it'll happen before anyone even realizes. I don't like it. You're the big brother of the battlefield. You've earned a firm grip on the world's military power. But soon, Zero will have nations in his. He'll erase the Cold War, all war from people's minds, and with it the world's borders. Zero's will, his influence, will be unleashed, with nothing to stem the tide. When that happens, opposition will no longer match the lines on the map. And boss, with no borders left, what difference can we make? War will have lost any true meaning to the world. Just one more gear keeping the wheels of economy turning. Another product bearing down the capitalist conveyor belt. The future your friend Miller wanted. That's all there is in store. Perhaps it's already too late. But human will should only be handed down and nurtured by human hands. It can't be entrusted to the system. Especially not that soulless phantom that Zero's left in his wake. No matter what happens, we'll have to fight someday to reclaim our truth. Until next time, Big Boss. Someone has successfully struck at Zero. Since Zero's using a private network, we get information, but we have no way to trace his location. That means the details are still fuzzy at this point, but apparently some new bioweapon was used. As soon as he noticed the dip in his vital signs, he had his stomach pumped and even underwent blood dialysis. But he didn't fully recover. Ironically, if Zero kept more company, he'd have been safe. Since the incident, his speech and actions have been getting more unhinged by the day. He's probably been rushed to another safe house for intensive care. But the location is a complete mystery. That's the way he operates. He went to incredible lengths to make sure his great escape went unnoticed. So far, I know at least Langley and the Pentagon were involved. He had a blackout triggered in New York to disrupt the transportation and information grids, and at least 2 submarines were sighted off the coast. The personnel involved were working off a cover story. Naturally, the White House was fed the same thing. The project is buried under a pile of dummy ops and backup plans stretching across multiple organizations. It's safe to say not one of the people involved knew what they were moving or to where. All top secret, no trail, no leads. He's living up to his name as usual. Only this time, even I can't find him. Now, the only record of his location lies within the Cipher AI that was at the heart of the escape plan. And that's closed off, with its data sealed away in a secret location. Skullface was able to put together this assassination attempt, but even he can't possibly know where Zero is now. I'll keep searching, but when you're up against he who controls information, it's gonna be a long battle. Boss, it was Anderson after all. That's right, the man who went by SIGINT during Operation Snake Eater. Following Zero's disappearance, he's taken over command of Cipher. Well, to be precise, the AI he oversees has. The idea to have an AI act for Zero came about in '74, when the data from the mammal pod penetrated NORAD. Clearly, an AI couldn't be allowed to make its own decisions. So they would take away its ability to act, and instead, create a specialized system in which the AI, bound by specific rules, filters the massive amounts of data it collects before passing it on to people, subtly guiding their decision-making. A system of the people, by the people, for the people. So they began researching how to do it. DARPA apparently brought Strangelove on board to head it up. She was forced out after a certain incident. The direction of the project and any trace of her existence was scrubbed after her departure. Before Zero lost consciousness as his condition worsened, he left instructions for Anderson, through a cutout, of course. Zero went out of his way to hide your location in order to keep you safe. This meant sacrificing his own protection. It was the only way to ensure you could stand alone as your own man. And here I am, the only link between you and the world that's passing you by. I'm your last connection now. This was Zero's last request, his will. Once you're awake, we need to discuss the best way to ensure your safety. Oh, and they've got a name for Anderson's AI project. It's called the Patriots. It's all about ensuring that the concepts driving society appears the same in the mind of each person in that society. About maintaining the identity of the individual, and yet having that individual willingly make up part of the whole. I guess it's fitting to call that patriotism. Creating a united world. Zero's will is already fading into a shadow of what it once was. Systems, guidelines, rules, laws. When you take a mentality and fix it in a solid shape, put it out there in the hands of people, it can only begin to decay. No mentality can last forever. When the body dies, the will dies with it.
Huh?
Over here.
Hello?
Not there. Here.
Huh?
Thank you for coming. Please.
You're...
I suppose the cuffs have... Although, truth be told, I have been spending more time in...
No.
The tie, perhaps. Not the most fashionable...
No, it is very nice.
How sweet. You're hardly underage.
No, thank you.
Please, sit. Pacifica...
What?
Ah, yeah. Not bad. A schoolgirl, all through and through. Ah, yes. You've already begun.
What?
Pacifica Ocean.
What?
Not bad. Here you are.
Thank you. I heard you were sick.
Poppycock. I just like to take a little time off work.
You?
You must feel that.
Well...
Anyway, I could hardly greet my first guest from that.
Now
I'm twice as glad I got ready. Drink before it gets English breakfast tea. There were 8 candidates, meaning you will be the 9th Paz Ortega Andrade.
What?
They're in the next room. They've been taking it.
They...
Do you see any wind?
No.
I've gotten used to it. This life, and I've had my fill of... Excuse me. But I can't help some wishing I could see the stuff. What should I do?
Well, you could go up to the roof. You would have it, and a pretty one. But once the wind and the clouds, you can look up and see a sky.
You've had a hard time.
Yeah.
Sewer rats lead better. Extreme starvation. Days spent abandoned, hurt, and all but killed. Some of your compatriots, others betrayed you, and you did the... But through it all, you survived. And you will just look. I can see every...
Yes.
Consider this mission a reward.
Thank you.
Yes. You know what's next?
Yes.
And you are...
Yes.
I believe you. Not the type you'd get on the... If I didn't know better, I'd say you really did grow up around the equator. But it runs deeper. One look at you, and I see a wide-eyed student yearning for peace. I can see it all. How much prep?
A little.
You'll be perfect to strike back at I'll share everything. But you mustn't forget, if he were to get the... Well, I deeply regret having put you... But beyond that, I'm putting my...
You can trust Cypher.
None of my friends. He's gone cold.
I know we are the only ones here. There's no one...
And how do you know?
You said I was your first...
Oh, I haven't had this much fun in quite a while. All right, then.
Cypher's been in hiding ever since his grand experiment. No one's seen him in years.
All we hear of, except you met with him. Tell me, where? I've never, where I was born. I've never had the freedom. But you, right now, do as you...
This will save...
It may.
Will you?
Not for you.
Alright. House 10th Avenue. His...
Not exactly.
His medical needs keep him from the other residents are of varying. It took him 10 years. He's got place.
No better place to hide it.
0. A room with no windows. Officially, the only access rooms.
She...
Nobody real people go eat, but their building blends. They disseminate room that keeps. And most of them are there, but if foot traffic, goods coming in, and it is all monitored remotely by. Should he need it, there's a sealed off water conduit that can cut from the outside. A perfect...
So the Major believes 0 suspicion equals totals vary. It's just the kind of ruse, so long as no one's suspicions are aroused. On the other, if someone figures it out, and he's so paranoid about information slipping out, no one involved that ignorant. The downfall of the pitfalls circumventing them.
You hate...
Hate? He never left me to die. I'm bound to repay anyway. But that's not what you want to know is... I don't hate. I do deserve a little more of, but he probably has no... So you see, I mean to have my... It's not petty hate, nothing so... Even the hottest lava eventually cools, and that mountain scalding steam comes back down as... It's then that now I'm merely a part, just like 0, and you... And... That love, that vengeance is already set as... The choice.
Please.
Proceed.
Please.
Give this. Hold her still.
It's me. Ocelot. It's been quite a while. Yeah, I'll say. Took a lot longer for you to surface than I expected, Major. I wasn't planning on coming back at all. Well, after the... My hunch was proven right. Oh, I have an idea. Immediate disinformation. Most bought into the story, but not everyone. I couldn't cut. But I did hide the fact that... And that should buy us. Where is he? En route to an old fox. A base in the British sovereign area of Cyprus. The military hospital? Ava. Funny, isn't it? That we should... This isn't otherwise... Yes, I don't... Something simply won't ever happen. You too can only bear to speak. But I don't want... Surely we can come together on that. There are so few men I can turn. And your number... Keep him. But I'll stay where I am. That's how he... Isn't it better for... Where I am. All that matters is getting him the very best. The latter being... Will he wake up? And if so, I have absolute... But as long as his heart... So please. This location. No one will... And if they try, the information... which is... Guess you're still at the top. Anything but. Donald's taken over a great deal. He'll be... Though I wish it weren't so. I have no... Thank you. See. One more thing. Yes. I've prepared a ruse of sorts. What is it? You could... I've made a... Major? I'm not talking... A mental... His phantom. I don't understand. You will when you get to... I've set the ball in motion, but the rest is in... You're good at this kind of thing. If it's in... I assure it is. Look after Snake. He's the toughest son of a bitch I've ever known.
Caution.
Yes.
Rain.
It's me. You weren't in hospital long. Where it's safe, but in the same state as when you last saw him. We've had our misunderstandings, you and I. But as you've made, therefore, please understand not. Where is... No. And then you never... Do you understand? First, I had him moved. Well, I'm sure it came as quite a shock to you when you were... I told him... Surely you understand. Specialized medical treatment. And to be honest... Anyone looking for him would... He needs to be as far... In fact, I'm still not sharing his location. Even now. Problems could arise. An introduction to a friend to your boss. He knows more than any man alive. I trust keeping secrets. He's known Snake 10 years. Kazuhira,
I don't care if, but I require your Snake will be brought understood. The only reason we're having this conversation is because, which brings me to the next issue. When Snake wakes up, and he'll need your help. So when he does, the code for V has come to. I'll then mobilize all the necessary parties. Think of it as until then, just be ready when, but you don't need me to tell you that. I know it's been, but I can't imagine.
What are you talking? If what you're saying, then this is like wrapping a rope around your... What's your plan?
This, so that he survived. Nothing more. After that,
Then tell me.
go on.
I only joined you after I found out what you were after. To make the world one. And he's already done it.
He has.
So on some level at least. Then why'd you do that? I get what you were trying with Pas. You wanted to... But after that, how could you do that?
After that wasn't... You may not believe this, but I never... My organization... It's just going to take a look. I admit, I may have been lax in my...
Whatever. One day. Just as soon as the boss... And then we're coming at... This ends with you begging us...
Because that fantasy can make for a big boss will wait. And when he does, be there for him.
Major, I want...
Exer, I presume this was your doing.
Do you like my gift?
I've been searching along.
It is what you were looking...
The winged dagger of a comrade. He served under the boss back in Rayforce. I delivered this pin to her. From that moment on...
She was still carrying it in Selinoyarsk. How about the back? Something wrong, Major?
Nothing, just...
The back.
The scar is there, just as I remember it. And this...
Major?
30th of... It's the inscription I made.
Of course.
His body was never recovered. When I gave it to her, she just kept... Never again, she uttered. She pressed hard. You see, it's why this spot on the back looks... He was our brother.
So...
Yes, it's real.
Good.
What do I...
Nothing. Just wanted to...
Very well.
It's about our man, Major.
Miller? Yes,
Yes, and up to his own...
No matter. He'll...
Oh,
And that's...
not exact. You see, my being here has made me realize
How so?
this country is rich bacteria. I'm sure we can find something here to...
Forget it. The Cleanser project was just a...
And the vocal cord parasite?
Well, an excellent test case. Nothing more. What matters now is the genetics technology bit. With genetics, the clumsiness in target. No need to breed multiple generations. Once the Cold War is over, using humans alone, an electronic network will span the...
You may be right. But will men need to see the evil? Without it, they'll turn their aggression, you know.
I see what you're... Just as those robbed of their parasites develop a man robbed of his enemy developed... And I know all the symptoms. And with asymmetry, that's why we must depend on information control. People need an appropriate context that balance is the best.
You mean to say people will blindly accept your content?
If we're to unite the world, literacy must be suppressed.
Immunity, but to ensure there's no allergic reaction, while the immune system fights off parasites.
It's done, Exo. The world that the boss envisioned will find race, tribal affiliations, the nature of communication.
Some things can't be undone. There's no taking...
A face means nothing when one's soul...
I have no intention of hiding. I wear my broken visage. This...
You. What are you...
The chain of retaliation is what will truly... Major?
Use the pin. You...
Yes, the pin. It's too late. You see, Major.
How did you... The girl you made...
I'm sorry I couldn't visit, or thank you, but it has been love. And now that I know you're no longer... It's time for you. You're a busy man. Lots to do.
Go to hell. How did you plan at your own... all these years?
Now you see.
But
You've been...
You're just none of you understand.
I would say the same. The boss. Only... Major... Oh, and that pin badge. I held on. I'll take it and continue.
Jack. Go.
I almost thought you would...
No. You were supposed to visit hospital, but...
How did you get here?
My friends at the The trip to the airport was a little dramatic. Still. Oh, look, I won't be
I understand.
Which one is he?
On the right.
And the left?
We...
Has either of...
Neither of them. No.
Not once.
Not in 2 years. Their weekly EEGs show stable activity level.
Jack, it's me. You look fit to run it.
Every 4 hours, we move all of them. They're stable.
Yes.
We've done everything we can to ensure they're ready to move. Still. How long will...
Indefinitely. And so far, no.
I see.
I am most grateful.
We'll do everything we can.
Can you...
Of course.
Jack, nice play. I went to a here when... Still. Maybe knowing that will help. I had no intent... This... If you just... Do you remember the last time? Our first... After the boss threw you in the... I had another team with a very special man. Maybe he didn't... In any case, seems to have... I'm quite... There's nothing. I always was the... I'm... all right for now. If you don't wake up soon, I don't. But what he did to you, I've sent him to, and I doubt, Jack, no. I'll be somewhere, even you, a tombstone, that is all I'll leave. Wake up soon. Time is running short.
Please specify a project.